Do you remember Liz Truss? I won't blame you if you don't. She was Prime Minister of Britain for all of 45 days. Her policies were disastrous. They plunged the British pound to an all-time low. You don't recover from that sort of thing. But Liz Truss still has hope. She's trying to make a comeback ahead of next year's election. Her strategy? Taiwan. Truss has announced that she will visit the island next week. What for? To show solidarity, she says. But let's be real. Liz Truss is not going to show solidarity. She's going to revive her political career. And what better way than a visit to Taiwan? A former prime minister bravely standing up against China. Normally, it would make for great headlines, but this time, even her own party is not amused. The chair of the Foreign Affairs Committee has criticized the plan. She's also a Tory, by the way. And she says the visit is the worst kind of Instagram diplomacy, and we agree. Taiwan isn't some campaigning ground for Western leaders. It's a self-ruled island of 23 million people. These leaders fly on private jets. They wine and dine with Taiwan's leaders, make some statements about democracy and freedoms, and then they fly out. It's the people of Taiwan who deal with the consequences. Do you remember Nancy Pelosi's visit? She was retiring as US Speaker last year. She wanted something to cement her legacy. So what did she do? She went to Taiwan. Pelosi's trip ended without any hiccups. But do you know what happened afterwards? China carried out 6 days of live fire drills. They were this close to war. Dozens of fighter jets buzzed near Taiwan's airspace. PLA warships sailed on the horizon. Imagine living in that situation under the constant threat of war. Nancy Pelosi did not feel any of that fear or concern. She was safely on a plane back home. Pelosi used Taiwan to create her legacy. Liz Truss wants to use Taiwan to relaunch her career. It's selfish and dangerous politics. Does that mean no Western leader should visit Taiwan? Of course not. But visits should have a genuine objective. It should be over and above material assistance. Right now, that's not the case. We keep hearing about new US military packages for Taiwan. Another one is about to be cleared. It's worth $500 million. But how many of these weapons have actually been delivered? The backlog is huge. Some reports say it's worth $19 billion. Just think about that. Weapons worth $19 billion are yet to be delivered. So put yourself in the shoes of Taiwan's leaders. What would you want? The weapons you were promised? Or another symbolic visit followed by Chinese war games? I think I know the answer. In this case, the war games may not even happen. Why is that? Because even China doesn't care about Liz Truss. Look at this report in the Global Times. It says, washed up political figure Liz Truss eyes political capital through Taiwan visit. As they say, even a dead clock is right twice a day. Here, the Global Times is right. My point is, the West should focus on actual assistance, whether it's weapons, financial aid, or political support. Such visits are nothing but distractions, and dangerous distractions at that. And this is not just about Taiwan. The West's Indo-Pacific policy has historically been like this. High on talk, low on action. Fiji's former Prime Minister summed it up best. He was speaking to US Secretary of State Antony Blinken last year. Listen to what he said. Fiji and our small state neighbors have felt at times, to borrow an American term, like a flyover country. Small dots spotted from plane windows of leaders en route to meetings where they spoke about us rather than with us. That's a damning but true assessment. But now things seem to be changing. Joe Biden is scheduled to visit Papua New Guinea on the 22nd of May. Reports say he will sign a defense and security pact. No secrets who the target is. It's China. The US will also double financial aid to $32 million. Out of this, $25 million is for climate action, which is all great. But the question is it too late? China has expanded its Pacific footprint in the last 2 decades. I have some numbers for you. From 2006 to 2017, China's aid to the Pacific was around $1.5 billion. The type of aid is also important. Most of it is in the form of big infrastructure projects, like ports, roads, and airports. Chinese companies are also in the game. Their investments reached $958 million by 2017. Chances are it's now crossed $1 billion. Trade is growing. It was $153 million in 1992. It increased to $5.3 billion in 2021. And the US stood by as all of this happened, as China tried to displace the West in the Pacific. But last year, things changed. China tried to sign a security pact with 10 Pacific nations. The plan failed, but Washington woke up. Biden decided to host Pacific leaders at the White House. He also announced an $800 million financial package. Fun fact, the US Congress still hasn't cleared it. These delays have given China a foothold in the Pacific. But there's still hope. The rejection of China's security pact is evidence of that. The US must use this opportunity to push ahead. Let's see what Biden's Papua New Guinea visit can achieve on that front. This time, he's not flying over the country. He's actually making a stop. How things change in 24 hours. Yesterday, the protesters were on a rampage. Now the army is. Rawalpindi seems to be in no mood to tolerate the unrest. They've arrested PTI leaders. They've also deployed troops across cities. The question is, what is their game plan? Will they directly seize power or continue to act behind the scenes? Acting behind the scenes has one advantage. The army could escape some of the blame. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif promised a quote-unquote iron hand response yesterday. His speech, but the army's words. So the idea is to pin the blame on the civilian government, use Sharif as a front to crack down. And what does Sharif get in return? Probably continued support from the army. It's a good plan. Just one problem though. The Pakistani people will see right through it. They know where the blame lies in their country, not Islamabad, but in Rawalpindi. Which is why many military buildings have been targeted. So the scapegoat tactic may not really work. Having said that, let me spell out the ideal scenario for the Pakistani army, how it would like things to play out. The crackdown sends protesters back to their homes. Things settle over the weekend. Imran Khan gets convicted in one of the 100-plus cases against him. He's unable to contest elections, so the army either waits till August or calls for early elections. No surprises, the Sharif government gets another term. This is a perfect scenario for the Pakistani army. Of course, Imran Khan has another theory. He says he will be slow poisoned in custody. That's certainly not beyond the Pakistani army. But if his arrest resulted in these scenes, what will his custodial death trigger? So logically, killing Imran Khan would not make sense. But one thing can still spoil the army's party, and that's the people of Pakistan. If the protests continue to spiral, the army's options will be limited. They could be forced to take a more direct role in governance. I don't want to use the C word yet, but even a coup cannot be ruled out right now. Talk about an irony. The people may finally hold the key to Pakistan's future, not through elections, but through street protests. How did things reach such a point, though? How did Imran Khan become so popular? Remember, he was called the selected prime minister. He was handpicked by former military chief Qamar Javed Bajwa to become the prime minister. At least sit in the prime minister's chair. He was picked for that. In return, Imran Khan granted Bajwa another term as army chief. But around 2021, the relationship turned sour. Imran Khan tried to interfere in the army's affairs. He tried to withhold Rawalpindi's pick for ISI chief, and that was the beginning of the end. The army withdrew its support, ousted Imran Khan, and propped up Shehbaz Sharif as prime minister. That should have been the end of it. But Imran Khan had other plans. He mobilized his supporters against the establishment, even called Bajwa a traitor. It was unprecedented in Pakistani politics, a former prime minister taking on the military. So where did Imran Khan get that confidence? Well, from the people. Suddenly, Im the Dim became Im the Popular. His rallies were attended by thousands of people. At one point, he even played videos of India's Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar. That showed a sense of confidence, a sense of complete control over his support base. How did he achieve that? Well, we can think of 4 reasons. Number one, Imran Khan is not your normal politician. He's also Pakistan's greatest sporting idol, the man who won them the Cricket World Cup. So Imran Khan was already a household name in Pakistan. Number two, the PTI isn't like any other political party in Pakistan. It's not dynastic, it's not feudal, it's based on cult of personality. And across the world, such leaders are doing well. Number three, Pakistan's economic condition. The growing middle class is disenchanted with the ruling elite. The politicians are seen as corrupt, the army is seen as power hungry. And that's where Imran Khan is seen as different. an outsider who can break the system. In reality, he too is responsible for the economic mess of Pakistan, but his supporters don't seem to remember that. And finally, reason number 4, his anti-America rant. It may sound hysterical, but there's logic to it. For decades, the army has cultivated anti-Americanism into Pakistani minds. There is inherent distrust of the US. Imran Khan simply tapped into that. He's undoubtedly the most popular politician in the country as of today, and the army knows this. Just look at what happened in Punjab and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Both provinces were ruled by Imran Khan's party. But earlier this year, both assemblies were dissolved. Why? Because Imran Khan wanted snap polls. He wanted to demonstrate his party's popularity. That's when the Election Commission played spoilsport. They tried to delay the voting till October, basically tried to buy some time for the army. Once again, it was the judiciary that rescued Imran Khan. The Supreme Court of Pakistan ordered elections on the 14th of May, this weekend. Will that happen? Well, that depends on whether the army wants it to. The public sentiment is firmly anti-establishment. A free and fair election now would be a landslide win for Imran Khan's party. So Rawalpindi has two options: end this charade of democracy and take power, or rig the provincial election. As for Imran Khan, they can always fight another day. There are 100 plus cases against him. It's only a question of which one to convict him on. And now it's time for Vantage Shots, images that tell the story. Starting with Turkey, the country is gearing up for election. President Erdogan held a massive rally in Istanbul. Meanwhile, NASA has released images of solar flares. They are by far the most powerful explosions in the solar system. And Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg is famous for many things. One of them is keeping his composure while being mercilessly grilled during Senate hearings. But this time he lost it. No, not during another hearing, but in a jiu-jitsu competition. A referee thought that Zuckerberg tapped out, so he declared the opponent the winner. But the billionaire wasn't having any of it. He protested, and how? We'll show you. And finally, what makes May the 11th significant? We're taking you back in history. On this day, India conducted 3 underground nuclear tests. This happened at the Pokhran range in the Indian state of Rajasthan. The year was 1998. The test was called Operation Shakti. Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the Prime Minister of India. 2 days later, another test was conducted. The world condemned the tests, but for India, it was a source of national pride and technological advancement. Over the years, India has proven to be a responsible nuclear power with a no first use policy. We leave you with that. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.
पोखरण परमाणु परीक्षण के जरिए भारत ने न केवल अपने वैज्ञानिक सामर्थ्य को साबित किया, बल्कि भारत के वैश्विक कद को एक नई ऊंचाई भी दी थी। अटल जी के शब्दों में ही कहूं तो अपनी ध्येय यात्रा में हम कभी रुके नहीं हैं, किसी चुनौती के समक्ष कभी झुके नहीं हैं।
Gitme İstanbul. Dön de bir bak kiradın geldi. Ayağa kalk İstanbul. İşte İstanbul'un Cumhurbaşkanımız Recep. Ayağa kalk İstanbul. İstanbul. Mustafa Leştici. Vatanına, milletine, bayrağına...
The French say we must suffer if we are to be beautiful. The question is, to what extent? How much should you suffer? Especially if the suffering extends to something as basic as nails. That's right. The beauty of nails is a prized asset. It's also a global industry, an industry worth about $13 billion. It sells pretty nails with an unspoken undertone of dangerous diseases. Now a woman is speaking up. Lifelong use of manicures has given her an allergy. Her nails have become inflamed, they're peeling off, her fingers have turned purple. She can barely use her hands anymore. But she isn't the only one. Health experts say manicures and gel nail paints can cause cancer, DNA damage and severe rashes. It sounds horrifying. But if pretty nails have such ugly consequences, then why is the world still such a fan? Here's a report.
They say beauty is pain, but just how much? Ask Lisa Dewey. She's a 36-year-old British woman. She used to be a fan of gel nails. You know, the artificial nail enhancements done in place of natural nails. They give nails a glossy look, but more than that, they've given Dewey a terrible allergy. Her nails have become inflamed. They're peeling off from the nail bed. Skin is tearing away from her fingers, which, by the way, have turned purple. She's unable to do basic things like wash her daughter's hair. She's in a lot of pain. But she's not the only one. Many women share her pain. Some of them now have cancer. Yes, manicures have given women skin cancer on their hands. It's because of the nail dryers used in salons. They emit ultraviolet light. It speeds up the process of drying the paint and gel on nails, but also speeds up the risks of skin damage, which can increase in as few as 8 visits to the manicurist. But the risk of getting skin cancer is relatively rare. The chances of developing skin allergies are way more common. They include nails loosening or even falling off, and severe rashes on the face, neck and chest. This is all a result of dangerous chemicals in the nail products. They seep into the skin and cause allergies. Sounds scary, right? Maybe even reason enough to reduce trips to the nail salon? But this problem doesn't just stop with the customers. Manicures are even more brutal to the manicurists. Perfect nails are poisoning salon workers. Manicurists handle the chemicals of nail products and breathe their fumes. They do so day after day and develop fatal health problems like cancer, abnormal fetal development, miscarriages, and breathing problems. But none of these risks are new. People have known about them for years now. Yet nail salons rarely have a dearth of customers. So you may be wondering, why don't women just stop getting manicures? Doesn't good health trump pretty nails? That's a fair question. But to ask that is to question the beauty industry as a whole, or even beauty itself. Because the risks aren't limited to glossy nails. Look at the everyday products we use. Soaps, lotions, deodorants, hair products. A number of them cause cancer. Some of them cause fertility issues. Or look at cosmetic plastic surgery. It can cause blood clots, nerve damage, and even death. Yet, time and again, we use what the beauty industry gives us. We hold ourselves to its unrealistic standards. We give it our money and health. It tells us why we need to be insecure, then tells us how to get over it. It's no lie that we're trapped in a vicious spiral. Why spiral? Because while the trap may feel never-ending, we hold the power to put an end to it. Beauty may lie in the eyes of the beholder, but our health lies in our own hands.